I'm Lindsay Maloney, and this is the Book Your Dream Clients podcast. I built a 6-figure coaching business while raising my 3 babies and working a 9-to-5, and I'm here to help you break free from the hustle mentality that's been holding you back from reaching your full potential so you can know your worth, step into your own power, and of course, book your dream clients. Welcome back to another episode of the Book Your Dream Clients podcast. Today we're with Haylee Stamper, and we're chatting about something we all obsess over: your message online, your Instagram profile. What are you and who do you help? Haylee is going to help you, and I'm so excited for you to listen. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Haylee, thank you so much for being on the Book Your Dream Clients podcast. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Hey, I'm excited too.
So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone and let us all know what you do and who you serve.
All right. Well, I'm Haylee Stamper, and I'm a self-evolution expert. I have kind of landed on that quote-unquote title because, as you know, like in this online industry, it's like finding the words that match what you do for people is sometimes not so crystal clear. I work with women in their life and their business, but essentially it's just how to elevate to that next level, like how to see everything as progress and evolution. So whether it's strategy, mindset, a little bit of energy, I'm a little bit woo-woo, I call myself. But yeah, it's a little bit based on just their life, their business, all the things, but it comes essentially from viewing it all as evolution.
I love that. So how did you evolve into what you're doing?
Well, I started out, I've always been an entrepreneur. I mean, I started at 13, just helping teach ice skating. I was a competitive figure skater and kind of went down that. I've always been like in the teaching, wanting to mentor and help people roll.
Mm-hmm.
And went through 17 years in the health and wellness industry with Pilates, like teaching private Pilates, teaching people in their homes and in studios. Yeah, and it progressed where I loved helping, especially women, feel better about themselves, but the physical level wasn't where I wanted to stop. And so kind of found coaching myself, going through just a low point in my own emotional and personal life, and then working through that with someone. I was like, oh, this is what I've been looking for. I really want to help women on a deeper level, like find their power and see it all as progress. So yeah, I began kind of going through my own personal health and mindset journey, I guess you could say. And then from there, I kind of began helping women in the arena of having gone through mental and emotional abuse. I was helping women kind of find their power through that again. And then it's just evolved. It really truly has just evolved into more of the life and business coaching aspect of it.
So your clients now today, why are they coming to you? What are they struggling with?
Oh, the number one thing I hear is stuck. They feel stuck. You know, they just feel like they've been trying it. Usually the women that come to me have explored entrepreneurship. They've been going after that thing that they feel is in their heart, but they feel like something's blocking them, something's not working. And they begin to get frustrated because it's not flowing. It's not looking how they thought it was going to look. And yeah, so I pretty much help them realign. Sometimes it's like just a subtle little shift that they might be thinking of something differently, or there might be something just misaligned with the actions that they're taking. But I help them kind of identify what it is that they think they need to be doing versus what's really feeling good to them and what's aligned for them.
Getting unstuck or feeling stuck is so common. Why do you think that is?
That's a great question. I feel like there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves for things to look the way we see other people. Like if you go online and especially social media, it's beautiful, but you see all of these amazing, like we call it the highlight reel, right? On social media. Yeah. Everything's looking great. And it's like, wow, their business took off so fast and they're so happy and things look amazing. And I'm over here, wanting to pull my hair out because I can't figure out how to work this or how to work that. And I think it sometimes comes down to that comparison concept. And the minute you can just kind of put your blinders on and just figure out really what feels right to you and what are you really here to do, and then figure out how to best do that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of where people get that stuck feeling. Is I don't think they're often as stuck as they think they are. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
perception.
100%. And sometimes I can feel the frustration in my students or clients when they ask me a question and I say, well, what feels right for you? And they're almost like, oh, just tell me what to do.
Exactly. It's true. It's like, what's the answer? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm like, there is no magic answer. Like, I wish we all came with like a
I
manual.
know.
But we don't.
I know I'm very sarcastic. So I'll say, well, you go to this website and you click this button, and then everything magically happens. You are now ready for the new passage.
Right? What is that website? I wish.
I know. It's all inside. It's so Wizard of Ozzy. It's like you've had it this whole time and you're just discrediting yourself and you're off looking at everyone else and like you have this gold right inside you and you keep ignoring it. Why do you think people ignore all that good stuff that they have?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that because when you were talking, I was like, yes, I always think of myself as like a mirror. Like it's like I'm
Mm,
just the mirror. You have all the answers. You know what you're here to do. It's just literally being able to see it. Why do they discredit that? I mean, I think growth is uncomfortable. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I think,
mhm,
I always tell people like in their own evolution, like there are points where you're going to have to look at the things and the minds, the patterns and things that we've been thinking and believing about ourselves for so long. And in order to really go to that next level and to really own your strengths, you also have to, I think, own some of your weaknesses and lean into some of that discomfort. I think there's also that misconception that growth is all positive and effortless and it
mhm,
feels so good, and it does at points, but you have to kind of go through some of the darkness sometimes to get to that light, and I
mhm.
think that that's uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Not only, we're not, we always have to go through darkness and learn. And I think it's in the perspective of what you're going through and how can you make this into something positive. If we all have those moments in our business where we're like, what is going on here? Is the internet broken? And why am I sitting here? We all have those moments, but then you have to, for me, I have to take a step back, a really, really far step back and get that really great bird's eye view and look at the big picture. Because sometimes we get so engrossed in that tiny little situation or whatever it is. We get so caught up in our own mind and we're not even seeing what's around us, the potential ahead of us or anything. And I think a lot of it kind of goes back to confidence where we don't have confidence in moving forward. So we're just going to try and be like her. We don't have confidence in our message. So we're just going to try and be like her too. We don't have confidence in our branding. So we're going to be like her. And pretty soon you're just like all these different people and you're wondering why nothing's working for you. Do you see that with your people?
Oh, yes. Yes, very much. And I think that's a big part of what I do is just helping figure out who they are when they
Mm-hmm.
shed all of the things that they think they should be and all of the things that they see. Especially several of my clients are in network marketing companies, and that's one
Mm-hmm.
where I will see that a lot too is, and it can be in any industry, especially online, but you see someone, in your upline, or you see someone doing something that's really working well for them, or you see another coach in the industry that's, exploding, and it's like, oh, what are they doing? And it's just
Mm-hmm.
part of the human nature to try to figure out what they did and dissect it and
Mm-hmm.
try to reenact it in yourself. But the key is to really just like, I think, celebrate the people around you that are doing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like be really excited for them and get in that energy of like, wow, look what's possible, rather
Yes.
than how do I do what they did.
Exactly. Because when you try and do what they did, it's not going to work. It might feel really good for like 2 seconds, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, now how do I sound like how I look? And it just becomes
Huh?
this disaster. I love that you help people clarify their message. And I think a lot of times people just need to have somebody to bounce something off of because they don't quite feel confident? Like, let's say it's just their, I'm a business and success coach kind of saying. Do you help them clarify that message?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Like I was saying in the very beginning, like to me, I've narrowed my own down to self-evolution expert because I feel like
Mhm.
that's the core of what I do. And I try to help my clients see that in themselves too, that like, what does coach even mean? Like, what do you mean when
Mhm.
you coach someone? What is that? What are the people that you're working with really saying afterwards? What are they receiving? And how to look at some of those things and figure out what it is that you're specifically helping them with, and not worrying about what words you use to describe yourself, if that makes
Mm.
sense. Yeah, because I think there's a big attachment to titles, it seems like.
Yes.
Yeah, and titles are helpful. You want them to be clear enough that people can identify the concept of what you do, but I think it's important to not be afraid to kind of branch out and really get a little bit more specific on how you're serving.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips on how to get clear on that when people are feeling they can't identify with it? It doesn't feel right. And if someone came up to them and asked them what they did, they would stumble and probably talk about it for 5 minutes. Do you have any tips for clarifying your message?
Yeah, I mean, I usually start first a little bit more broad with people. So I have a concept that I use called pillar stories, and it's the three main stories that make up your entire business, so your entire brand. And it's it's a little soul work involved, but you have to go back and kind of think, what are the three pivotal things that either you stand for or that got you to where you are, or a topic where I always say if someone in the room is talking about it, you just can't shut your mouth because you just are that passionate about it. And so when you can identify those three main foundational things that you stand for in your business, then from there you can kind of take a look at, okay, so let's say it is helping women find their voice and maybe financial freedom. And let's say the third one is self-care or self-worth or
Mhm.
something like that, right? And so then from there you can kind of mesh them together and go, okay, so how do you use these three concepts with the people that you're working with, and what are the results that they get? And then you can kind of bring that together to where you can create kind of your own little mini slogan or tagline, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. So that's kind of the process I take them through.
I love that because that's one thing that I always got caught up on and still do. And so many of my students will try so hard. And it seems like you can't do anything else in your business until you have that set.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's so true. And yeah, and I always tell people too, like this is the big thing. I'm like, it's all just a journey. Like even your name, like it will evolve again, right? I mean, I've
Mhm.
changed my title so many times, and
Mhm.
I think the minute you give yourself permission to be okay with that, that it's not
Yes.
like, here it is, this is the last thing I'm ever going to use, this is perfect, it's going to fit forever. Well, hopefully we all are leaning into growing and learning and improving even in our business. And so as you learn and grow and shift, so might be what you call yourself.
Mhm. Or
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think, well, if I switch stuff, everyone's going to notice and then they're going to think that I'm wishy-washy, but really nobody really notices.
Exactly. Nobody's standing over our businesses with the magnifying glasses that they are. What will they think? And it's like
I
they're not
know.
paying attention to the degree that you are.
Although I do have students when I make changes to my website, I'll give them 24 hours and I know they're going to be asking, well, why did you do this? I love that.
That's good though. That means your
Eagle
clients,
eyes.
yeah, they're engaged. They're very engaged in what you're doing. That's amazing though.
Yes. I have so many coaches that listen to this podcast. I help coaches start and scale. So do you have any tips for coaches how to tap into their message so they stand out?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're first starting coaching, I always tell people coach on the thing you can help with. Like start a little bit smaller.
Mhm.
So like for me in my journey, I helped women who specifically had gone through mental and emotional abuse and helping them just find their self again, like find their power, put boundaries around themselves, figure out how to speak up, like things, very simple things. And I knew, okay, I can for sure guide people in that area very confidently. And then it grew, and it's like the branches of a tree. So you've got your roots and what you know for sure you can help with. And then the tree grows and you'll have branches that come off of that. But I gave myself time and permission to like really root into what I did know and then allow that to kind of grow and evolve over time. I didn't go straight from, oh, wow, I see business coaching people making so much money and it looks so successful. And so I'm going to immediately become a business coach. So I think like just really staying in integrity and alignment with what is the one thing specifically you can help people with, and then just start really nurturing people and helping in that one specific area, while also just being open to the possibility of where it's going to take you next.
Such great advice. I love that. And I think it's so important to know that wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. So we almost have to just pick something and go. Otherwise you're doing everyone a disservice by not putting yourself out there, because there are people who need you, and you don't have to try and be like everybody else, because you have something different and you are here I always say you're here for a reason. There's no one who's ever going to be like you. So own this gift that you have, because you're here to help people. So just call yourself something that feels good and go with it. What kind of transformations do you see with your clients once they have that message and they're like, yes, this is exactly what I am right now? What kind of confidence shift do you see?
Oh, massive. Yeah. And it's like all of a sudden it becomes easier for them. I think the struggle is we try to make it a struggle. And I think the minute you just are true to yourself, and like you said a minute ago, like sometimes it's messy action, right? Sometimes it's just, let me try this and see where this takes me. Okay, that didn't take me where I thought it was going to, so I can give myself permission to shift again. But yeah, their confidence just begins to soar, I think primarily from the fact that they just took action.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Action is so huge. Even if it's just as small as changing your Instagram profile, it transforms you into something else. Your copy is different. Everything that you say is different. You're stepping into a new shell. And that's what you do every time you change things. You step into a new shell and it feels weird, but you're like, I kind of like it here. So now I'm going to see how long I'm going to be here. And that's just like you said, it's the evolution of your business.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that idea of the shell. It's so true. It's like just when you think, oh, I figured it out. Here I am. This is great. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to need to break through the shell too. And just kind of realizing that it's never going to be the end, which is what's exciting is constantly like, where can I go next? And I think that's just the most exciting part about being an entrepreneur is it's just so unpredictable in a beautiful way. It's like there is no limit to where you can take yourself.
It's just like having kids. Every time you think, okay, we got this down, they grow into something else and you're like, now we got to learn this again. Oh, yeah. It's this exact same.
Oh yes. I remember with my first child, like, oh, he's sleeping. Okay, we've done it. It's great.
We're good to go.
Life's going to be great. 2 weeks later, he's not sleeping again. It's so true. It's that release, you have to release a certain amount of control because there's just things outside of us like babies and businesses that
babies and businesses.
Yeah, they have a mind
we can't control.
Exactly. Babies and businesses. There you go.
This was such a great conversation, Haylee. How can everyone find you so they can, if they want to get some help with their message and their business, where can we find you?
Well, HayleeStamper.com is my website. I'm on Instagram at Haylee_Stamper. Facebook, same thing, Haylee Stamper. Pretty much Google Haylee Stamper, you're going to find me somewhere. But yeah, website, I'm mainly on Instagram and Facebook, but I have a Facebook group as well that's Evolving Women in Business. And that's a fun, tribe of women that are just constantly trying to evolve and grow to that next level.
I love that. We'll definitely put your links in the show notes so everyone can easily find you, and be sure to share your love for this episode with me and Haylee as you listen. And thank you so much for being here with us, Haylee. You gave us some great tips, and I think everyone's going to go and study their Instagram profile message.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Book Your Dream Clients podcast. I am so grateful for you, and I want to be sure you are a part of my free community. Go to dreamclientcommunity.com and join our free Facebook group. We have all kinds of cool things happening every single day, so don't miss out. Also, if you love downloading freebies, check out my freebie vault on my website by going to lindsaymaloney.com, selecting freebie vault, and there you can download all the things that will help you start and scale your coaching business. And if you're feeling extra generous, be sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode.